So I just had an amazing conversation with Trisha Price, the Chief Product Officer at Pendo. And we really dove pretty deeply into the world of product analytics and mapping customer experiences. And one of the biggest takeaways for me was that it's never too early to invest in measuring customer success within your product. As I mentioned in the show, it costs time and money to measure, to track, to build the analytics into your product. And so many startups are so laser focused on just building things that they're not willing to pay the price, right? Either they think that they have to hire some special data engineer to go build and track all of these things, or they just don't think about it until after the fact, and they think that it's too difficult. And I've seen this obviously so many times in my career as a product coach, but product market fit is the name of the game, not just in the early stages of your startup, but continually as you grow. And it's really hard to truly understand if you have product market fit if you're not measuring and observing and tracking the customer's experience. And so we talked a lot about outcomes, right? And how the role of product is not just to build features or build products, but to drive customer outcomes. And so what we really need to do is take a step back and try to understand, what are the problems that we're helping our customers solve, and what are the outcomes of that? And what we mean by that is, well, what does success look like, right? So if we talk about a problem, the outcome is, well, what's the other side of that problem? Once they've solved their problem, what does the world look like to them, right? They've achieved something, they've closed some revenue, they've created something in your tool, whatever your platform does for them. And so measuring those success cases is really truly the most important measure of your product success. It's not new customer growth, it's not revenue, right? It's, are our customers able to come into our product and achieve something that they came for, right? And so, whether it's not only a product, but every single feature, you should start with the outcome in mind, right? Start with the success criteria that says, okay, well, what's the problem we're solving? What does success look like? And how are we going to measure it? Okay. And then work backwards from there to determine, well, what is the actual product or feature and flow going to look like, right? So we usually start with, okay, we want to go build a thing. Let's go sketch out some wireframes. Let's go design it. Maybe build a prototype or two. And that's fine if you're just kind of exploring and trying to understand, what a solution might look like. But if you really want your product or the feature to have impact, and you really want to be able to control, right, and objectively drive results like retention, like a high NPS score, like referrals and revenue, and so on and so forth, you need to understand what are the outcomes you're trying to drive, what the success criteria look like, how to measure that, and then bake that measurement into the very fabric of the product or feature itself, right? Which means it's in that story, ideally use a template. So if you have a product brief template, for example, or, a user story or an epic that's describing what this feature should do, there should also be a section that is, how are we going to measure success, right? And it could be as simple as, if this customer lands on this page at the end of the flow, that means they did it, right? They got to the end of the flow. Okay, cool. That feature is now adopted. It might be, if there's some form of user-generated content, right? That they actually created a thing, that there is a record in your database of a thing being created, right? And then so we want to drive those outcomes. It's, well, how often or how many of these things are they creating, or how often or frequently are they making their way through this flow to get to the end? So it doesn't have to be complicated, right? And it really shouldn't be. But every single feature should have that measurement baked in, so that then you can do the attribution So further down the line, when you're looking at your retention, when you're looking at your NPS, right? And you're trying to make sense of your customers who are happy with you and your customers that aren't happy with you, you can tie it back and look at them and say, well, all of our customers that churn within the first 30 days look like this, right? And all of our customers that stick with us for 6 months, they look like that, right? And it could be a lot of times it's sort of, which features are they engaging with? How often are they engaging with them? How deeply are they engaging with them, right? And that's where we can kind of layer things on, right? Individual button presses. Are they customizing? Are they using these more advanced features or not? Or is it simply just a matter of using it and getting to the end of the flow is what's important? So you can do a very rudimentary, and I'm talking like you could probably do this in Excel or with a simple database query to understand what are the behaviors that your best customers and your worst customers are partaking in, and how does that drive the business outcomes that you're looking for, right? Which again, retention being the North Star, but ultimately driving revenue and growth. So again, this was an incredible, deep conversation with Trisha at Pendo. I hope you get a chance to listen to the whole thing, but enjoy the bonus. Have a great day.